Last evening, I asked you what can be the worst result of appeasement. I had said, look at the United Kingdom and you will have your answer. As the ecosystem remains in denial and trivializes the pain of victims, viewers, imagine the faces of those children who were supposed to be safeguarded by the very institutions meant to serve them. Their pain is not a political tool. It's a call to action, a demand for accountability that transcends political affiliations. Viewers, the betrayal here is not just of the young souls, but of the very principles of equality and justice upon which all modern societies claim to stand or should be standing. The heart of this issue is not about race. It's about crime. It's about human beings, people whose lives have been shattered while those in power played a dangerous game of silence and denial. The only antidote to this betrayal is a rigorous and unflinching investigation devoid of any political spin or cultural appeasement. Only then can we begin to repair the damage done, viewers, to ensure that justice is not just a word but a reality for those who've suffered. Britain must rise above this appeasement, confront the uncomfortable truths, and ensure that no child ever again feels the shadow of such institutional neglect or betrayal. Anything less is not just a failure of policy, it's a failure of humanity. To counter the narrative of the ecosystem and to take on the doubters, we have a survivor now joining us. First of all, I thank you for taking the time out. I thank you for the courage that you've shown and agreeing to speak to us on Times Now. I want to begin by asking you, what would you like to tell an ecosystem or set of people who are still in denial about this scandal?
They need to open their eyes. They need to see that this is real, that it is happening. It's happening to thousands of girls all across the world, not just in one particular country. It's happening everywhere. And they need to open their eyes and start educating their children, and children need to be educated at school. People just need to start realizing this is going on.
What gave you the courage to finally report your experiences to the police? And if you could detail what really happened?
That's a really hard question to answer. So a lot of things have gone on, so it'd take me probably 2 hours to sit and explain everything to you.
I understand. Take your time. Or if you don't want to, I don't want you to, feel the or rewind to a time or perhaps narrate the horrors that will leave you numb. In brief, if you could sum up what really happened and how did you muster courage to report it to the police and how did they react?
I seen it starting coming out in the news about Telford in England, and it made me realise that I was one of them girls. I have a son. I got pregnant with him at 13 years old. I was raped by 5 men, so one of 5 could be his father. I don't know who his father is. And the memories and everything that I have, all of it just clicked and made me realise that I was one of them girls too.
When you first went to the authorities, what was the response? And has that response changed over the years? Do you feel a sense of justice or you still feel betrayed?
When I went to the authorities, to the police, I started giving them my video evidence. The police wouldn't protect me. they wouldn't move me away from my home into safety at the time. So in the end, I withdrawn my evidence. My video evidence that I gave, I withdrawn it. So I never ended up getting any justice because I wasn't getting no protection and was unable to do that, to be honest.
I'm sure you're aware of how the UK Prime Minister has responded to this. He said this is utter misinformation. He's called it lies of the far right. What would you tell Mr. Starmer?
The far right aren't liars. I'm a survivor. I was raped by Pakistani Muslim grooming gangs. Not grooming gangs, actually. They're rape gangs. Yeah, they're not far right. No way. They're just right for standing up and speaking for the thousands of girls that have been victims of the rape gangs.
Are you in touch with other survivors, people who've undergone this trauma, who were violated, sexually assaulted?
Yes. Yes. There's a lot of they're not girls anymore. They're women. But yeah, there's probably, I can't even put a number to how many I talked to. I talked to quite a few.
You know, if you're comfortable speaking about the violators, did you know them?
I didn't know all of them, no. But the first couple of people to start grooming me, they lived in the same road where I lived. So I did know some of them, yeah. I know them from growing up. Some of them were, say, friends of my mom.
Now, for those, you know, you know, now that this is broken into such a big story, a scandal of this proportion that has been discussed across the world, would you like to, you know, share more details of how this rape gang operates? Is there a pattern to how they target their victims?
They target all sorts of girls. They'll start by approaching them on the streets, pulling up next to them in their cars, offering them cigarettes, offering them a spliff, offering them a drink. That's how it starts. It starts on the street.
Starts on the street and ends in trauma for survivors. My final question to you is about the silence of the authorities in UK. What do you think is holding them back?
I don't know. They're scared of the Muslims. They're scared to speak out and do something about it.
Right. I understand, because a lot of people are saying this, that they don't want to be branded as Islamophobic or racist, and they want to be politically correct, which is why they're not really taking cognizance of this scandal. More power to you. Thank you for taking out your time and speaking to us. We just hope that all of you deserve justice, and that justice must not be denied at any cost.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
It's as crude as it gets, viewers. A survivor account on television, and the only purpose of putting this on TV is to tell the ecosystem that remains in denial, that has trivialized this case, to wake up. Let's open this up. David Atherton, journalist, broadcaster, joining us from the UK. Dr. Anand Ranganathan stays on. Adit Kothari, founding member of the Indic Society, is also with us. Hamid Khan, journalist from Pakistan, is joining us. Mr. Atherton, I want to ask you the last question I asked her. Why are many people still in denial? What would you tell Mr. Starmer?
Right, okay. There are two main problems dealing with Pakistani rape gangs in Britain. One is, as many have said, people don't want to be accused of being Islamophobic, and if they're accused of Islamophobia, they will lose their jobs. The second thing is, I don't know whether you discussed this at all, but there's at least 3 girls who were murdered, and possibly might be 5 people who have been murdered by Pakistani rape gangs. A lot of these people are gangsters. A lot of these people are violent thugs who even the police live in fear of. We have a cowardly society in this country where nobody's prepared to, when the police are too scared to stand up for girls like that who go through the most horrendous situations. I'm sorry, it is the whole system from literally down, from the policeman on the street right up to the government are completely unable and unwilling to do anything about it by and large. It's only when it's losing them votes, when it's losing them votes, they actually do something about it. In fact, the main reason that the rape gangs were covered up for over 30 years. By the way, the first victims were actually Sikhs, not white girls. So that, for the record, it was actually Sikhs who were mainly the people to be worried of.
Right.
So, and the reason is the Labour Party, something like 70 to 80% of Muslims in Britain vote for the Labour Party, and for the sake of the girls, they didn't want to sacrifice their electorate.
I'll come back to you, but I want to bring in Dr. Ranganathan. Dr. Ranganathan, I'm sure you're aware of this campaign to play down this scandal on social media, even on mainstream television in the UK and around the world. This notorious ecosystem is at it, escalating its attack. The latest spin is that they're calling it the foreign hand or the interference. So a justice campaign has been dubbed as interference.
No, absolutely, Pranesh. And can I just say this is one of those instances where hushing up of the crime is as worse and as blood-curdling as the crime itself. It's just the mind boggles at what has happened. But we need to discuss not only the crime, which people have done, but I want to go a little bit beyond that, because unless we go to the psyche of what is happening, not just of the perpetrators, but of the government, of the state, I'm afraid this is something that's going to repeat in country after country. Because the fact is, Pranesh, we are living in a world where you believe what you see, but unfortunately, what you see is written by those who see what they believe. So objectivity has become that metallic object that must be left behind before you pass through the electronic threshold. Our biases don't beep anymore. We are a deeply polarized society, a deeply polarized world. This isn't objectionable because polarization means you have a clash of ideas, that there is competition among them. And so it mirrors Darwinian evolution, science, religion, capitalism, communism, right wing, left wing. There's nothing wrong in professing diametrically opposite likes and dislikes and views, even if you hold entrenched views. But the problem comes when one party, one ideology, one dogma, one system controls the discourse or weighs in on it. That's when you stop being objective and start to editorialize and play God. And this is what has happened around the world. Out of political correctness or virtue signaling or being co-opted by Islamists, journalists and politicians are petrified and scared of talking of Islam or Muslim practices, or indeed when Muslims perpetrate criminal acts for fear of being branded Islamophobic. In fact, it is the Muslims who are Islamophobic. That is, they fear Islam. They fear to bring out the orders and the commandments of their holy book in its entirety on Jews, Christians, polytheists, homosexuality, apostasy, heresy, dress code, wife beating, blasphemy, because they fear being called illiberal. And this is what we saw in Britain when mass child rapes resulted from the grooming of underage girls at the hands of Muslim gangs for years. But the police and the politicians not only turned a blind eye, they accused and shamed the victims and their families. They arrested many fathers who complained. Pranesh, we are living in an age of wokeism, victimhood, selectivity, and political correctness. And I don't know if we are allowed to tell the truth anymore. Away from Britain, I want to take a minute because this is important. We have seen the very same perfidy being played out in India. We don't talk about it. Remember the horrendous Ajmer grooming case in 1990? 250 girls met similar fate as they fed in UK. It was totally hushed up. Politicians didn't want to rake it up for fear of annoying the Muslim vote bank. Remember the cases of love jihad that continue to be hushed up, continue to be called a figment of one's imagination by journalists and opposition. This is the fact. The thing is, they are happening with alarming regularity. When it suits media, even one incident merits an outrage, and here it suits them to ignore the hell a Hindu or a Christian woman goes through during love jihad. The recent chilling report from Bihar of a man named Muhammad Rahim impersonating himself as Arjun, luring a Dalit woman into relationship with the promise of marriage. After they engaged in a physical relationship, Arjun reverted to Rahim, told her he won't marry unless she converts. Should the Dalit woman get justice? This is the problem, because we are only looking at these crimes superficially. We're not looking at what happens, who hides these crimes, and they will keep on happening. Pranesh.
Hamid Khan, when will the denial end? Why are you in denial? Is justice not important?
Okay. Thank you very much. I would request give me equal time without interruption, so that I can put my, understanding to the whole matter. There is no doubt that the British system, in terms of bringing the justice for such kind of perpetrator, is not working properly. I mean, there has to be much more need to be done by the prosecutors. There is no doubt about it. But naming and branding something is not going to solve the problem. We know the biggest rapist of the recent history in in child rapist is Jamie Savile, which has been knighthooded, and then there was no prosecution against him under the Keir Starmer when he was a prosecutor general, and there is more 90% of the grooming cases are 95% are non-Pakistanis. We cannot blame anyone
That's
with
not
the
true.
name
That's
of the
not
religion.
true, Mr.
Okay.
Khan. That's
Let me
not
speak,
true.
please.
Don't
If
do
you-
this. No,
if-
1 minute, sir. 1 minute.
Look,
the
if you let me-
interruption. No, 1 minute. I can't
I
guarantee.
really don't like it. If you let me speak.
No,
let me
Mr. Khan,
complete.
I can let you speak. I can't allow, free
No,
flow of
I'm
falsehood.
sorry. I'm
I
sorry.
can't.
You are-
I'm sorry, Mr.
No,
Hamid
I'm
Khan.
sorry.
You can leave the
I'm
show.
sorry.
You can leave the show if you want. I'm not allowing. You see, this is the mindset. He's run away. Confronted with facts, he runs away. The real face. Hamid Khan, this clip will haunt you forever. Adit, why do we see this behavior?
Because it's plain and simple intellectual dishonesty. They use that to provide cover fire to extremism and people who want to establish a sense of totalitarianism in the UK. And that is what all of the politicians, all of the mainstream media journalists, academicians, they've all been complicit of this particular crime. I mean, I'll take you back to 2008 when Gordon Brown, when he was the Prime Minister of United Kingdom, he said, do not prosecute these rape gangs because these children are making lifestyle choices. So basically, the polity made a conscious decision to victimize the victim instead of going after the perpetrators. In 2017, the Labour Party MP at that point, Naz Shah, she tweeted out saying those abused girls in Rotterdam and elsewhere just need to shut their mouths for the good sake of diversity. So in the garb of multiculturalism, you want to throw 11-year-old, 13-year-olds who've been subjected to violent, barbaric rapes. You just want to forget about them? I mean, that's the kind of complicity we're talking about, our civil servants and our politicians. And that is why this particular government is hiding behind everything, and they want to shoot down the messenger. They want to shoot down Elon Musk.
And
Yes,
look at the
fine, fair enough.
discourse. The UK Prime Minister has the gall to come out and say that, this is far-right lies. Mr. Starmer, the survivors are right. You are wrong. Plain and simple.
It is exactly what the survivors
Wake
said.
up
We are right.
and ensure that justice is done. Viewers, we've run out of time. I just hope that, this campaign continues, because more than 1,000 people, women, are seeking justice that has been long overdue. Mr. Atherton, Dr. Ranganathan, Adit, thank you for joining us. We hope to have you again as we continue to call for justice.